Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we're looking at a company that's, well, it's right at the edge of innovation, but also maybe financial risk. Rigetti Computing.
That's right, a real pioneer in quantum hardware, pushing boundaries. But the investment picture, it's complicated.
Definitely. So the big question we're tackling for you listening is Rigetti Computing a buy right now?
We'll dig into the numbers, the recent stock surge, and the pretty significant risks you see with this kind of early stage tech.
Exactly. We've looked at everything from their latest contracts to, well, the warnings in their financial reports. And hey, before we jump in, please do remember to subscribe, like this analysis if you find it useful, and drop us a comment. Seriously, if there's a specific company you want us to look into next time, let us know below.
Okay, let's set the stage. Rigetti Computing, what are they actually doing?
Well, they're a pioneer in quantum computing hardware, specifically focusing on superconducting qubit technology, and they offer hybrid cloud platforms too.
So they're building the actual machines, the hardware for this next wave of computing. Exactly.
Yeah.
But what's kind of wild is who they're up against.
Right, the big guys.
Yeah, IBM, Alphabet, Google D-Wave too. Companies with vastly, vastly deeper pockets.
So how does a smaller player like Rigetti even survive that?
It's tough. Their survival really leans on technical breakthroughs, obviously, but also partnerships, not just commercial ones, but government and academic links are crucial for them.
Okay, let's talk financials then, because there has been some good news, which has gotten investors interested lately. Revenue growth.
Yeah, that's been pretty strong year over year. Looking at the first half of 2025, revenue was $6.8 million.
Compared to?
$3.3 million for the same period in 2024. So,
Yeah.
yeah, more than doubled. That's definitely momentum.
That's significant growth in this field. And they're managing losses too.
They are. The net loss for that first half of 25 was about $28.4 million.
Which sounds like a lot.
It is, but it's better than the $37.7 million loss they had in the first half of 2024. So they are narrowing those losses by almost $10 million year over year.
Okay. And anything else positive on the balance sheet side?
Well, one key thing is they don't have any long-term debt. They're funding through equity, and as we mentioned, those government grants and partnerships. That lack of debt is a plus.
Right. You like to see that in an early stage company, but there's always a but, isn't there? The cash burn must be intense.
Oh, absolutely. That's the flip side. The cost of being a hardware innovator, especially in quantum, it's just staggering.
So even with revenue up and losses down.
They're still operating with a negative gross margin, meaning basically it costs them more to build and deliver their tech than they're making from selling it right now.
Ouch.
Yeah. And their operating cash flow was negative to the tune of $25.7 million just in those first 6 months of 2025.
So burning through cash.
Massively.
Yeah.
It's, pretty typical for this bleeding edge sector, but it means they constantly need more capital just to keep the lights on, keep the R&D going.
Which makes those government and academic partnerships even more critical, right? Because that's often non-dilutive funding.
Exactly. It helps bridge the gap until hopefully they can scale commercially. It's a key part of their model, really.
Okay, so the cost of innovation is huge. But the market, well, it hasn't exactly been focused on that lately, has it? The stock price action through August and September 2025 was pretty wild.
Absolutely undeniable momentum. You saw the stock jump, what was it, nearly 50% in August?
Yeah, huge game.
Followed by another pretty significant pop in September, 12.5%. That kind of move isn't random.
No, it was driven by news. Contracts, right.
Entirely. Visibility on contracts. The big one was definitely the military angle.
The Air Force deal.
Yeah, that $5.8 million Air Force contract. They secured it alongside another company, Cute by Jack X.
Why is that so important? Defense contracts.
Well, penetrating the defense sector is key. It validates their tech, their superconducting qubit approach, at a very high level of security and scrutiny. Plus, it expands their footprint in a potentially lucrative, stable market.
So validation and a new market foothold.
Precisely. And it's not just domestic. They're also making progress internationally, like the work they're doing in India with CDAC, the Center for Development of Advanced Computing.
Okay, so global recognition is building too, adds credibility.
Definitely. It shows their technology isn't just a lab experiment. It's being taken seriously by major organizations worldwide.
So all this excitement, these deals,
Yeah.
it leads to the near term. What are the key events coming up that could, either keep this momentum going or maybe pour some cold water on it?
Right. The immediate focus is going to be the Q3 2025 earnings report. That's expected around October 2nd.
What are people looking for there?
Revenue recognition. Hard numbers.
Yeah.
Did those new contracts, especially the Air Force One, actually start contributing to the top line in Q3? Investors will be watching that like hawks.
Makes sense. What else?
Beyond earnings, you've got some market dynamics that could cause swings. Think institutional money.
Ah, the 13F filings, when the big funds have to show their hands.
Yeah, exactly. Those Q3 disclosures are due around October 21st. Seeing which large institutions bought in or maybe sold out during that Q3 surge, that can really influence sentiment.
A big psychological boost if major funds were buying.
Or a damper if they were selling.
Yep.
And then later, around mid-November, you have the technology ETF rebalancing.
Right. Passive funds adjusting holdings.
Yeah, that can force buying or selling of stocks like Rigetti, regardless of the company's specific news, just based on index rules.
Yeah.
Adds volatility.
And you can't talk about volatile tech stocks without mentioning the rumors.
Oh yeah, the speculative side is always churning. Given their cash situation, there's constant chatter about M&A.
Mergers and acquisitions, like could a bigger company swoop in?
Exactly. Could a larger tech firm, maybe a semiconductor giant, want to buy Rigetti for their tech and talent? That's always a possibility, or at least a rumor.
And collaborations too.
Right. Talk of potential tie-ups with major cloud providers, integrating Rigetti's quantum processing into platforms like AWS or Azure. That would be huge validation commercially.
So lots of potential catalysts, but also lots of speculation driving things.
Absolutely. It fuels that high-risk, high-reward feel around the stock.
Okay, this is where we need to slam on the brakes a bit. Because all that positive momentum, those contracts, they exist alongside a massive red flag. Something buried in their filings.
Yeah, we absolutely have to talk about the going concern warning.
Explain that. What does going concern actually mean? It sounds bad.
It is bad. It's a formal statement from the company's independent auditors. Basically, they're saying they have substantial doubt about the company's ability to continue operating, to stay in business for the next 12 months, unless it gets significant new funding.
Wait, so the auditors doubt they can survive another year without more cash?
That's the essence of it. They estimated the cash runway at current spending rates was less than 18 months.
Less than 18 months? That's not a long leash. That sounds like the fire alarm is blaring.
It's extremely serious.
Yeah.
And for you, as a potential shareholder, what does that imply?
More shares being issued. Dilution.
Almost certainly. To survive, they'll likely have to issue a lot more stock or find a strategic partner purely for a cash injection. Either way, it waters down the value of existing shares. The urgency is palpable.
And this is happening while they're trying to compete with Alphabet and IBM, who presumably don't have auditors questioning their survival every quarter.
Exactly. That's the context. Rigetti's in this incredibly expensive race against giants who have, almost unlimited resources by comparison. They have the infrastructure, the customer base. It's a constant uphill battle for Rigetti.
Okay, so the company is under immense financial pressure. Let's look at what the insiders were doing, the people who know the cash situation best. When the stock price was spiking in August and September, what did they do?
Well, there was notable selling activity. We saw specific filings showing directors and the CFO selling shares.
Selling into the rally.
And exercising options, yes, right when the price was near its recent highs. The filing showed prices between roughly $14.66 and $16.76.
So basically selling near the peak.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Selling right around that resistance level we saw develop, the timing is, well, it's something you have to notice. It suggests they perhaps felt the price in the near term was pretty full given the underlying risks.
Okay, that's a significant signal. Let's connect that to the technicals. You mentioned that price range, $14.16 to $16.75, where it traded from August into mid-September. What are the key levels now?
Right, that $16.75 to maybe $17 zone really acted as resistance. That's where sellers, including those insiders, stepped in.
And on the downside, support.
If it pulls back, the area around $14 to $14.50 seems to be where buyers have shown interest before. That's the established support zone to watch.
What about indicators? Is the upward momentum fading?
Well, it's a mixed picture. The 30-day simple moving average is still pointing upwards, currently sitting near $15.50. That suggests the short-term trend is still technically up. But the MASD histogram, it was flattening out quite a bit in early September. That often signals a potential loss of that upward momentum. It suggests the rally might be tiring, and that high volatility could return, potentially pushing a price back down towards support if it can't break through that resistance decisively.
Okay, so let's try to pull this all together for you. We've got this real conflict, haven't we? On one hand, explosive revenue growth, major defense contracts, narrowing losses.
Yeah.
Real signs of progress.
Yeah, it's definite positives.
But on the other hand, this incredibly serious going concern, warning from the auditors, this urgent need for cash raising the specter of dilution, and insiders selling near the recent highs.
It's a classic high-risk scenario. So synthesizing all that, what's our verdict on the investment thesis right now? We've landed on a rating.
That's a 4 out of 10.
Wow, only a 4. That seems quite low given the doubling revenue and that big Air Force contract. Why so cautious? It really comes down to that execution risk and fundamentally the going concern flag. Because of everything we discussed, the negative cash flow, the constant need for capital, the sheer cost of R&D in this space, we just don't see it as suitable for long-term buy and hold right now.
So not a core portfolio holding.
No. The fundamental financial risks, especially that potential dilution, seem to outweigh the positive momentum from the recent contracts, at least from a long-term perspective.
So if it's not for buy and hold investors, who is this stock potentially for?
Given the high volatility and those very specific near-term events we talked about, Q3 earnings, this 13Fs, ETF rebalancing, it seems much more suited for short-term trading, or maybe tactical speculation for those with a high-risk tolerance.
So a monitored trade based on catalysts, not a set-and-forget investment.
Exactly. You need to be watching it closely. It's not a foundational piece for a portfolio at this point.
You mentioned the long-term outlook needs to change for the rating to improve. What kind of change are we talking about? What would it take to get this beyond a 410?
It really needs a major strategic event, something that fundamentally shifts the narrative.
Like what?
Either a truly massive contract, win something that significantly changes their revenue and, crucially, their cash burn trajectory, or, alternatively, serious M&A interest. An acquisition by a larger player with deep pockets to fund the R&D without Rigetti constantly worrying about running out of cash.
So a game-changing deal or getting acquired?
Pretty much. Without one of those, that clock on the estimated cash runway, well, it keeps ticking.
That really crystallizes the situation. It's a stark reminder that cutting-edge tech alone doesn't guarantee business success. Thanks for navigating us through that complex picture.
My pleasure. It's definitely a fascinating space, but one that requires a lot of scrutiny.
Okay, before we sign off, here's a final thought for you to chew on. Looking beyond the immediate cash crunch, maybe the biggest underlying risk here is simply whether the commercial market for these advanced quantum systems is ready to take off at scale. Can Rigetti actually turn its hardware and cloud services into a sustainable business before that cash runway potentially expires? Or will the tech remain brilliant, but ultimately just too expensive to commercialize in time? Something to consider. Thanks again for tuning in to our analysis of Rigetti Computing. We hope this helps you understand the dynamics in this really high-stakes sector. We'll catch you on the next one.